Hey, so I'm sure you guys know what Dead End Paranormal Park is, right? I've done two videos on it. One was more of a what's gonna happen in season 2 video. The other was my so-called review, so-called character analysis of season 1. And that is exactly what we are here to replicate today. So hopefully, just as I did the season 1 video, this will be my season 2 video. Hopefully out at a more reasonable time. For those of you who don't know, that video, I messed up a lot. It took a long time, and I'm not proud of the video. So let's hope that this video, it's a little better than the other one, you know? But I'm going to cover some of the same points that I did in season 1, like what episodes are my favorite, what happened to the characters and the plot and stuff, and I'm just going to wrap it all into a neat little video. And if this sounds different than, say, the older style of videos, like the Owl House Season 2 predictions, or the Dead End Paranormal Park Season 1 review, I'm trying a different style. So this video is actually not scripted. I just have a list of bullet notes in front of me of what I want to talk about. So if I ever stutter, like, it's because I don't have, like, a complete script in front of me this time. I figured it would save time. You know, I can get it out faster. And I kind of hate writing scripts for this channel because I end up writing way more than I need to. So speaking of which, we should start talking with the plot. Problem with the last videos, I went right into the characters instead of starting with the overall plot. And this season's plot is interesting, to say the least. I don't think it's as good as season 1. I'm going to say that. I think that the overall narrative of the Pauline stuff in season 1 and the Tamalukas stuff in season 1, it felt like there was more than one thing going on. And the problem with this season that I had is despite, in some episodes there was evil clones. Barney was wrestling in one episode. In one episode, you know, they were in heaven fighting the angels. Like, every episode was different, but I never felt like there was more than one plot, really. The only kind of subplot was the romance thing with both Barney and Logs and Badya and Norma, which I'll talk about when I talk about the characters individually later. But as for the overall story as a whole, I felt like it was all focused on telling one story, and that's kind of like the angels. The angels want us to do this, so we're going to go to the party in the underworld and crash it. Oh, Fingers wants me to do this spell, so I'm going to create evil clones of Norma and Barney, you know? Everything feels like it's backboned off of this one plot, which is actually something that I'm not huge on. I really liked the episodes in season 1, like episode 4, where they were at the sleepover, where it doesn't have anything to do with the plot. It has little hints of plot, which I do appreciate, but it's not directly impacted by the ongoing story. Like, that episode could be watched without watching any of the previous episodes, and you still know what was going on. As for any of the episodes this season, except for maybe, like, the first one or the last one, it's kind of hard just to watch and not know what's going on in the story, which is great. I love a story-driven cartoon, but I just wish, you know, it kind of diverged from that main story at some points. Like, it would have its little subplot or something, you know? The only episode I could think they did that was episode 5, but even then they threw in Pugsley's, premonition there of, like, the wheel. Like, an episode that was pretty much just romance. They threw in the wheel at the last second. They're like, yeah, look, we still are telling our story, we promise. Like, what makes a story good is the spacing and the timing of the season. I don't want every single second to be focused on the story. And I hope I got that point across, because if I didn't, then I sound like a hypocrite. Because I often complain about shows that don't have an overarching story to get me invested in, and then I just complain that this one did. Alright, so just like the last video, we're going to talk about the characters now. Starting with the only major new character. As a car goes by. You good? Okay. The only major new character that they introduced this season was Fingers. And Fingers is obviously a giant hand. And he did meet his demise in the finale. I guess I should mention that I'm going to go pretty hard on spoilers, as per usual. Obviously he was the villain. I mean, from the second he was on screen, he was in an antagonistic role. He was at the bowling alley, and he was kind of killing everybody, essentially. I really, really adore the voice. I think Fingers' voice actor did an absolutely phenomenal job at the character. The character himself, it was a good villain. Obviously, you're not going to beat Pauline, which we'll get there, and the overall threat that like Tom and Lucas had in season 1. Like, it's just fingers, right? Obviously, the people that work for and above fingers are very scary, and I cannot wait for season 3. But that is, again, something I'll touch on later. But Fingers himself had a short run as the villain of the show, and actually, I think he did a pretty okay job at it. I know I just complained about it, and it seemed like I didn't like Fingers, but I actually did like Fingers. I really liked the relationship with Pugsley, even though it was 1,000% ingenuous, and he did try to kill Barney at one point. Literally did kill Barney. That led to my favorite episode of the series, by the way. Or, not the series, the season. So yeah, villain, not terrible. I really liked what they did with him and Pugsley. Moving on, I believe we have Norma. And Norma was mainly focused on her relationship with Badia, which I thought was interesting enough. I really liked how they made her straight, because obviously the whole thing is that Norma comes out as bisexual, which is, yay, good for her, but like, I really like how they played rejection, because if they didn't, it almost seemed unrealistic that both characters get in a perfectly healthy relationship, you know? I think that in order for this to work, like, one of them needs to be rejected, and obviously Barney's not going to get dumped at this point in the show. So I think it's really effective that Badia, rejected Norma. I think that was a really good decision. Now, I would have been really happy if they got together. I think they're really cute together. But again, I just think that they work better as a dynamic as friends, I really like how she got rejected. And that was honestly all she did this season. She had the moment with Pauline in episode 7, which is probably the most disappointing episode of the show. I'm sorry. I really liked what they did for Pride representation. But as for the actual episode himself, the reintroduction of Pauline Phoenix, the best part of season 1, in my opinion, was super lame. I'm going to be completely honest, I did not like All Dolled Up. I thought it was kind of a lame episode. But in that episode, we did see that Norma went through some growth when it came to the Pauline stuff. Obviously, she started to see how much of her life was based around Pauline, and I really liked that. And I really liked how she broke through and was talking to her mom like, I want to do different things with my life, I thought that was a really good message. And I guess we could talk about Badia. Badia kind of got shafted, let's be honest. She didn't have the most scenes in season 1. She actually had very few scenes in season 1. She had even less here. Aside from episode 5, where she shared the spotlight with Norma, she really got kind of shafted the whole season, which was unfortunate, because she's a really good character, and I really don't want to see her get shafted, And then the other side character, Logs, actually had the opposite thing happen. I did not think that he had the most screen time in the world in season 1, but in season 2, they gave him enough screen time. I think that the amount of screen time he had in season 2 was perfect for a character like him. Not too much, not too little. I really liked how he actually had an episode without Barney in it, because Barney died. But episode 7, I really, really liked how it was him and Norma, because it's, a unique team-up. And, I really like his relationship with Barney, although that was more of a season 1 thing, to be honest. I felt like they kind of backgrounded it this season, which is, honestly expected, because of how much focus they put on in season 1. I don't blame them why they didn't focus as much this time. And then we actually have Barney himself. Barney was never my favorite character. I've kind of find him boring. Is that the right word? I think that he had a better showing this season. I really was neutral towards episode 3, which is basically a Barney solo episode. I really, really liked it more than the first 3 episodes of season 1. I kind of knew that the first 3 episodes would be meh. Episode 2 was actually pretty good with the clones. But then we got to the wrestling episode, and I was like, yeah, this is more of the mediocrity I expected. Definitely better than the first 3 episodes of season 1, as I've already said. Probably my least favorite episodes of the show, if I'm honest. And then, moving on from Barney, we have Pugsley. Pugsley's fine. Like, he didn't do anything for me this season. I felt like he already went through his arc, and, like, this was just the aftermath of it. I feel like the season wasn't that focused on Pugsley, which is crazy because, the whole season was focused on Pugsley. There was his angel powers. He ended up becoming the guy we saw at the end of season 1, the Watcher. Like, there was a lot of Pugsley stuff. But it just didn't feel like a Pugsley season. Like, we had entire episodes at some point without Pugsley. And even less without, like, his powers. In one of them, I believe, he didn't even use his powers that much. So, like, he definitely got less of the screen time because he already went through his arc. Like, that's what season 1 was. That was the Pugsley season. He's possessed. He taught Tom and Lucas to love life, and now he's a dog again. That's the season 1. Season 2, now he's learning magic again because he got jealous he couldn't do it. And that's it. He turns out to be the Watcher, but is that really much of an arc to say? I don't know. Just some of the thoughts I had. Is there any other characters? Oh, yeah. Oh, duh. Courtney. I love Courtney. Courtney was my favorite character from season 1. I don't know why, but does she sound different to anybody else? I feel like they, as Emily Osborne, I think is her name, kind of like pitched her up a little bit, because she definitely sounds different to me. Nothing to do with the character, I just thought that was an interesting note. Courtney herself is still Courtney. Obviously, she's a good guy this season, which is absolutely phenomenal. I love that change in the character. Spoilers, she's an angel, which, I mean, they don't do a very good job of making it a big reveal. In episode 2, I was like, oh, she's an angel. Like, I kind of figured it out immediately. It was something Finger said, like, we have big plans for you, or, something along those lines, and I was like, yeah, she's an angel. Although what they did with her in the season finale was really cool. I really like how there's more of them, and I really like how they were deciding Pugsley's path. I actually thought that was really, really cool. Courtney, overall, not as much of the GOAT, but probably still the GOAT overall, let's be honest. Alright, so I believe... No, wait, I do have one more character I want to mention. So, in the Season 1 review, I happened to mention that there was this character, this looming kind of villain, kind of not, that I really, really didn't care for. And no, it's not Pauline. Tim and Lucas' sister. It was quick, but in the last video, I did say that I was not huge on Tim and Lucas' sister. Well, there was one episode that completely changed my mind on that character. The episode where they went to the underworld party to bust it, and they went to Tim and Lucas' sister's party, and there was a nice scene with her and Courtney. Oh, it was so good. And I was like, okay, fine, I like this character now. Like, honestly, complete 180. I like the character. I can't wait to see her in Season 3. Same with Tom and Lucas and the weird human body. I don't really understand why they did that. So I'm going to talk about Pauline, too. So Pauline, as I mentioned, was my favorite part of Season 1, obviously. I'm sure you know that by now. Pauline was interesting this season. I don't need every season to involve her, but I kind of wish that they didn't do it this season. Now, hear me out. I know Season 3 is going to be huge. It's going to be the angels and the devils at war, clashing. Whatever. Pugsley is freaking dead. Spoilers. That is a huge part that needs to come up. But I really think that Pauline needed one big show before she got her redemption arc. Because if you remember at the end of Season 1, she just, boof, gone for the Tim and Lucas plot, which I thought was very well resolved. You could have had her in the all dolled up episode, had her go with Norma to dead end like she did, and then when she got there, she could have escaped and done something with Barbara. There's a lot of other options, rather than her just sitting in the doll, coming to the angel and being like, yay, I saved everybody, I'm redeemed. They even make a joke out of it. They're like, no, you're not. Like, you needed, A, more screen time to redeem yourself, or B, another villain arc. Like, I just don't understand what they were thinking with Pauline this season. And it is honestly very disappointing that they didn't do anything bigger with her. Okay, this is probably going to be something that most people disagree with. Something that I noticed when I was watching it, maybe it's because I watched Inside Job right before it, which is a very adult series, and I can't wait to do my video on that once part 2 comes out. It seemed more childish than season 1, and let me get this straight. Season 1, still a kid's show, but there are plenty of scenes and episodes. Like, I think it's just the overall tone that's much darker, and it's much, like, there's a bigger threat, and we're wholesome, but we're still, like, there's an evil menace the whole time, and the dog, and Pauline, and whatnot, there the whole time. This season, the main villain was a hand, and angels. Like, we went from a demon-possessed dog with magic powers, with a magic book that is, like, a bunch of evil spells, and, like, a giant ghost that had a whole musical episode dedicated to a hand as the main villain. I don't know why. It just feels less mature in a way, more childish. There's a lot of jokes that just feel like dumbed down from the last season, which is disappointing. But honestly not the worst thing in the world. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I said with Inside Job, I love a good adult show that's well written. But if you want to dumb jokes down for a younger generation and get them to watch the show, more popularity to you. And of course, I would be down for that. Just, like, make it still a good show, which they definitely did. I'm not saying that they didn't. But if you're going to make it more childish, still keep the overall story intact, still have good jokes, all that. I just, felt like it was a little, like, less dark than the last season. All I'm trying to say here. As for the highlight episodes I told you I'd mention, I'm going to do this quickly. Episode 10, fantastic. But episode 8, actually, was probably my favorite. This was the ghost episode where Barney died. And he kind of went through this, like, depression spiral of, like, moving on to the afterlife. And we got to saw Chester the dentist. I don't remember. Or Tiger Dentist Chester Billionaire or whatever. Pauline's ex-husband. Who's voiced by Bill Farmer, by the way, Amphibia's Hop Hop. And I just really, really liked that came up again. Pauline's probably my favorite character on the show in terms of, like, an antagonist. So getting to see more of that part of her is pretty nice, honestly. I really like that detail. Alright, anything else that I want to mention? Let me look at the list. Spoilers! Oh, ha, ha, ha. So, obviously, I've mentioned that Pugsley died quite a few times in this video. And that is... It's a tearjerker, I'm going to be honest. I really don't know how I feel about the decision. Because obviously, on one hand, I'm like, oh, that's so sad, I can't wait to see what they do with it. On the other hand, we know he's not dead. I knew from the second they killed him that he wasn't dead. And of course, we got the scene at the end of the season that's like, oh, I thought it was over. Nope, of course it's not. You're like one of the main characters. I am very interested, however, to see where it goes. Honestly, very excited. And then obviously, I like how it isn't revealed to, like, Barney or Norma that he's still alive. I like that they still think he's dead. Because that final scene where she went to Tamalucas's family and was like, let's declare war on the angels. Like, I had goosebumps during that. I was like, that is so cool. And we're getting a season 3. Honestly, I'm going to be honest. I knew season 2 was coming. And I was like, it's probably going to end at season 2, right? This kind of show, Netflix, sorry. You like to cancel all the good shows, so it's like, oh, it's probably going to get canceled like season 2. I honestly didn't think it was going to get a season 2, but last year we are. I'm doing a video on it. But yeah, we're getting a season 3. They confirmed it. Obviously, we don't have a date. They confirmed it, and it's super exciting that that's actually a thing. And predictions for it, I guess I'll do real quick. I'll probably do another video on it, because by then I'll have all my other videos done, and I'll be less rushed. I honestly don't have that many predictions. I know Pugsley's going to come back, obviously. I feel like the giant hand, what's his fault? The boss of Fingers, I don't know his name. I feel like he's going to be versus the demonic royal family, which is Tamalucas, his sister, and his mom. That's going to be like a huge thing. I feel like the neutral plane, Earth, is going to be the main component. And obviously, the main cast is going to be either fighting on the side of the demons or like completely absent, you know? Which is going to be interesting because like Courtney's an angel and she's going to be fighting said angels. Like, what if the blue guy comes back and is working for the angels and like Courtney is in war with them? Like, that's super, super interesting to me. And this is less of a want, or less of a prediction, more of a want. I want Pauline to come back, and I want her to be the absolute boss that she should have been in Season 2. Really want her to have a couple good scenes. Come on, Hamish Steele, bring Pauline back as one of the main antagonists. Come on. You know we all want it. Well, I want it. I don't know if everybody else does. Wow, 20 minutes. Cool. That was all ranting off the top of my head. So I really hope that this was a good style of video for you guys. It's going to take a while to edit. I'm going to try and get it out in November. Could be December. I don't know. No promises. But I do want to thank you all very much for watching. I will see you all in my next video. Take care of yourselves. Mental health is important. And I can't wait for Season 3. Anyway, bye-bye.